me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, gotta feel the tension. In my thoughts.
Welcome back, everybody. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what you think about this video. So again, we're going to be doing the preview of the training camp, and today's going to be the wide receivers that we have on the Miami Dolphins. And we're going to go over them today, and I'm going to kind of give you a little breakdown of each one of them and who I think is going to be the practice squad, and then the cuts, and then the backups, and then obviously who I think is going to be starting, which I think is still, is underway and under investigation. Ugh, Jesus, sorry. Wow, I'm getting attacked. Underway and is being investigated to see who's going to be that, third, fourth, whatever it's going to be. But we'll go over the list. So basically we're going to have Braxton Berrios, Robin Chosen, Anderson, Chris Coleman, River Craycraft, Dawood Davis, Eric Ezukanma, Tyreek Hill, Braylon Sanders, Freddie Swain, Jalen Waddle, and Cedric Wilson. So what we're going to be going over is obviously the guys that we really don't know too much about. So like I would say Chris Coleman, he's a rookie from Cal Poly. He's going to be one of my cuts. This is who I think is going to be definitely one of the cuts. I haven't really heard too much about him. I mean, he's just a little fast, speedy guy. Maybe we keep him on, for the practice squad, but not really much to him. Just a little speedster. So then we have Dawood Davis, who I actually think is going to be on the practice squad because I'm hearing some good things about him. And he's really fast, 6'1", 196. He's from Western Kentucky. I've been hearing some good things about him. So I don't know if he's one of the cuts. I think he might be a practice squad player. I don't know if he makes the team. But Dawood Davis is somebody to look out for on the practice squad, maybe even later in the season to bring up from the reserves. We have Freddie Swain, which Freddie Swain has been in the league for a couple of years. It's like 4 years at this point. And basically it's amassed to, in the total, 576 yards and 6 touchdowns. So he's kind of like a journeyman. He was with the Seahawks. Not really much to speak of too much, but again, I think a practice squad player. I think he probably, I would say a practice squad player for him. Braylon Sanders, he's a tough one. I think he's going to be a cut. I don't know if Braylon Sanders, I think what really hurt him last year is that maybe that game time situation where he was just dropping passes. I think that kind of hurt his mentality. And, I think he's got a lot of good to him, but, we'll see. I think there's a lot of receivers this year compared to last year, so it's going to be hard for him to make the squad. Now we have River Craycraft, which that was one of Tua's dudes. He just got injured mid-season. And honestly, again, we have Braxton Berrios. I think Braxton Berrios is an upgrade over River Craycraft. I just think he's a little bit better than Craycraft at everything that Craycraft does. So I think River Craycraft, I think he might be a cut too. I'm not sure if we keep River Craycraft. So that is going to be the practice squad / cuts. Now we'll move on to the backups. And obviously we'll start with Eric Ezukanma. I'm hearing some good things. I'm hearing that he has, made progress in the playbook. I'm hearing that he has really developed into much more of a mature player this year. But I do still think that he is a backup. I don't know if he sees the field this year. I think he's not going to be a practice squad player. I think he will be on the team as a backup. I think we need a lot of receivers and a lot of versatility. So I think he will be a backup. I think he's going to be borderline like practice squad. I think he will stay in that area of just borderline practice squad player. And I think he's going to steadily improve. I think Eric is one of those guys that maybe year 3 he comes to see the field, or maybe even midway into this year there's some different pack, maybe like goal line, I could say. Could be like a goal line package that they put him into as well. Obviously, it's going to be Cedric Wilson, which I think Cedric Wilson, that's going to be an interesting subject to see what we do, because maybe one of these guys like Braylon Sanders gets pushed up just because we might trade Cedric Wilson, or we keep him. I'm not sure what we're trying to do with him. That is a really big key here. I'm not sure where we're going with Cedric Wilson. I don't know what we're trying to accomplish with him. I think multiple times this offseason we thought we were going to trade him, and we still haven't. And I'm not really sure. I think that one Bills game, that was a really good game. I think that was something that really helped him stay on this team. So we'll see. I'm not really sure, but I think he's going to be in a backup role. I don't think he will be that third receiver. And then we'll go to Braxton Berrios. And Braxton Berrios and obviously Robbie Anderson are going to be really unique, because one of those guys, I think I'm more so leaning at this point towards Robbie Anderson, but I think the slot guy probably will be Braxton Berrios. But Robbie Anderson, I think, is going to be that third receiver. Braxton Berrios is that good, shifty, maneuverable. He's very similar to Wes Welker. If you really look at him, he's very similar to a Wes Welker. I would say just even a little faster. But Robbie Anderson, I think, is going to take that third receiver role. And I think he's going to really run with it this year. I think, when you look at what he is, he kind of matches a lot of the stuff. I think Braxton Berrios matches a lot of the stuff too. It's going to be a competition. It might even be that they're going to be 2-1, where they're both going to be the number 3 receiver. It just depends on what package that we use. So when we break it down, I think it really comes down to that. I'm not sure either one of them takes a actual lead role. I think it might just be package based, where do you have a short, intermediate, whatever type of package that you want, because Robbie Anderson is good at running routes, but Braxton Berrios is definitely much better at the route running and, short routage and, slot maneuverability, all that stuff. I think Robbie Anderson is more of like shoot him down the field and let him, spread the defense out. I think he's a different type of receiver. And I think it's something that we needed. I think somebody that we did need to get on this team was another guy to spread the field, and allow Tyreek to not have so much pressure on him, and Jalen Waddle. So obviously, the starters, I would even say, would be Jalen Waddle, Robbie, and obviously Tyreek Hill. So obviously Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. Tyreek came out, said he's going to have 2,000 yards this year. He's going to break records, and I believe him. I think it might not be the same amount of touches that he gets, because I think one of the things that might be detrimental to this team, I think something that affected us last year, is that Tyreek Hill needed touches. So I think sometimes Tua would just force the ball his way instead of, spreading it out to a whole bunch of receivers. Because, the best teams, like with Patrick Mahomes, is that he spreads the ball out to all these different guys, so he doesn't have to rely on one guy to get catches. And I think last year, a lot to Tyreek Hill, and I guess in my opinion, a lot of the times Tua was just trying to force the ball to him just to get him the ball so that he would have catches. And I think, if we win a game by 40 and Tyreek Hill doesn't have a catch, I don't think that's ever going to happen. But, that's fine. It needs to be that you don't need the 2,000 yards. You need, which if you're open, sure. If you get open, throw him the ball every single time. But if there's 3 people covering you and you're not open, you have Jalen Waddle, you have Braxton Berrios, you have a whole bunch of other different receivers that can get you the ball. And honestly, I'll be real with you. I really do think that this coming year, I don't think Tyreek Hill is going to be much farther away from Jalen Waddle in the receiving yards and touchdowns. I think Jalen Waddle is going to have, I know he's already had a breakout year last year, but I think he's going to have like an even bigger year this year, because I just think that now that we're settling into the offense, you don't need to force the ball to Tyreek so much. And I think there were a lot of times that Jalen Waddle was getting open. The catching issues are going to be solved this year. And I really do think that Jalen Waddle is going to have a extremely good year. Yeah, I think Jalen Waddle is just going to have a huge year, just bigger than it's been before. I just think it's going to be, something that really comes back down. I think you got Tyreek Hill. You needed to get him the ball last year. I think now we're settling in that it's them two. It's not 1 and 2. It's 1A and B. In conclusion to this preview of what we're doing, I think we're going to have the different cuts. I think we will do some of these things. But having Robbie Anderson and having Braxton Berrios is going to be a much, much more sufficient offense than it was before, because you have now people that can spread the field. You can have people allow Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill to get open Whereas before it was just the front and center was them two. You know, people can say we had Gesicki, people can say we Trent Sherfield. I mean, these players were not players that could take eyes off of Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. There's a lot of offenses out there where we have different players that can spread the field. Last year, Trent Sherfield was okay, but honestly, he wasn't a guy that spreads the field and allows you to not completely focus on Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And that's what essentially happened when we were playing those games is everybody just focused on those two, and it took our passing offense away. Well, now you have guys that can spread the field, get these guys open, and on top of that, the underneath routes are going to start being there because Mike McDaniel is going to learn from his mistakes and allow people to go out into the flat instead of just going intermediate every time. And even if we do go intermediate, Robbie Anderson is definitely going to spread the field. You know, Cedric Wilson he's going to come and be a little better coming in this year if we don't trade him. Braxton Berrios, great slot receiver. You know, he's going to be a really I do believe that people are not looking at what Braxton Berrios can be in this type of offense. I think you're running with the Jets. You have a crap quarterback. For a while, you're not going to play a whole bunch up to your potential, but people have to really look at when Braxton Berrios first came out. He had some decent seasons. You know, now you have a coach and a team and a quarterback that can get you the ball in space, which he is good in space. He's going to make a difference. And again, Robbie Anderson is going to spread the field and not allow safeties to lock on to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And now you have to account for different people because since there are so many people spreading the field, you now, one mistake and someone's gone. It doesn't even have to be Tyreek or Jalen Waddle. One mistake and Chosen Anderson's gone. One mistake and Braxton Berrios is gone. Everybody is faster. It's upgraded from last year. Like I said, players that were seeing the field like River Craycraft probably going to get cut. You know, River Craycraft is probably going to get cut this year or go to the practice squad. Freddie Swain is probably going to get cut. Braylon Sanders practice squad or get cut. You know, players that saw the field last year are probably going to get cut this year because we just have upgraded so much better. I even think that, you know, David Davis might even be practice squad. He might even be on the team coming into the year just because of what he can do. Got Izukanma. You know, some of these players, I really do believe that it's going to make a huge difference. We have definitely upgraded the wide receiver room coming into this offseason just based on the fact that last year it was Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and a bunch of nobodies. Cedric Wilson was supposed to be something, but I don't know what we're doing with him. I don't know what he's supposed to be, or we'll see what happens. Maybe he comes into his own. Maybe he surprises us all. But, you know, I do believe that they have upgraded the wide receiver room and made it so that Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle aren't solely focused on all the defenses, that they have a comfort of somebody else that can get open. So now you can't fully concentrate. You know, you double team either one or try and take them away. You still have other players that can get open, and that will allow openness to Tyreek and Jalen and allow them to obviously be better. And that's why I think Tyreek Hill thinks it's going to be 2,000 yards this year. That's why I think it'll be close for Jalen Waddle too. It might be a record-breaking season where both of them hit 2,000 yards, but I don't know. We'll see. But as always, hope you have a great rest of your day. Finzz up, baby. Peace.